The scene dissolved. They were back in the dark chamber. Second trial complete, the voice said. You chose sacrifice over pragmatism. Interesting, but understand this. Such choices cannot always be made. Sometimes hard decisions are necessary. Remember that. Another door opened. The final trial awaited. The third chamber was strange. As soon as they entered, the team was separated. Hana found herself alone in darkness. She could not see or hear the others. Third trial begins, the voice said, surrounding her. Will, face your fears. Overcome or be overcome, the darkness shifted. Hana was suddenly standing on Earth. She recognized the view. Seoul, her home city. But it was burning. Ships filled the sky, attacking. People ran screaming through the streets. She saw her family among them, terrified and helpless. This is your fault, a voice said. It sounded like her own voice. You failed the trials. Now humanity pays the price. Your species will be destroyed because you were not good enough. Hana wanted to scream. She wanted to run to her family to save them. But she forced herself to stop. To think this was not real. It was a fear made manifest. The trial was testing her will, her ability to face terror and continue anyway. You are my fear, Hana said to the burning city. But you are not my future. I choose what happens next. Not you, the scene wavered. Hana walked forward, through the flames, through the destruction. With each step it became less real. She was not running from her fear. She was walking through it, accepting it. And moving beyond it, the illusion shattered. Hana was back in the chamber. The others appeared around her one by one. Each looked shaken but determined. They had all faced their fears and survived. Third trial complete, the voice said. All trials complete. Well done, inheritors, the chamber transformed. The walls became transparent, revealing a massive library of data. Holographic displays filled the space, showing information beyond comprehension. This was the precursor archive. Everything they had ever learned, discovered, or created. A new figure appeared before them. It looked vaguely humanoid but was made of light and data. I am the last fragment of the precursor collective consciousness, it said. You have proven yourselves worthy. The trials were not meant to test your perfection. They were meant to test your growth, your capacity to adapt, to choose morality over ease, to face fear without fleeing. Why us? Hana asked. Why humans? You are the 13th alpha species to exist. The first 12 all failed in different ways. Some became too peaceful and were conquered. Others became too aggressive and destroyed themselves. You humans have the potential to balance both. Violence and peace, strength and compassion. That balance is rare. That is why you are chosen. What happens now? Yoon asked. Now you must choose. Accept the inheritance and all the responsibility it carries, or walk away and let the knowledge remain sealed forever. The team looked at each other. The choice was obvious but also terrifying. This knowledge could change everything. It could save humanity or doom it. We accept, Hana said. For all humanity, we accept. The precursor consciousness nodded. Then it is yours. I will transfer the archives to your AI companion. She has the capacity to hold this knowledge. Use it wisely. The galaxy will judge you by what you do with this gift. Data began flowing into Daeun's systems. Her holographic form glowed brighter and brighter as terabytes of information filled her memory. When it was done, she looked different somehow. More real, more aware. I have it all, Daeun said quietly. Technology, history, science, art, everything the precursors knew. And a warning. There is a threat beyond this galaxy. An enemy that destroyed the precursors. That enemy may still exist. The consciousness began to fade. That is the burden of inheritance. You gain knowledge, but also responsibility. The precursors failed to stop the enemy. Perhaps you will succeed where we fell. Good luck, young species. May you live longer than we did. The figure disappeared. The facility's power began to diminish. A pathway opened, leading back to their ship. Somehow it had been repaired and refueled by the facility itself. As they walked back to the ship, no one spoke. They were all processing what had happened. They had come here to prove humanity's worth. They had succeeded, but now they carried a burden that weighed heavier than any triumph. The journey back to Axiom Station felt different. They were not the same people who had left. They had seen too much, learned too much, and they knew that when they returned, nothing would ever be the same again. The precursor facility looked like a crystal mountain floating in empty space. It was enormous, larger than most stations Hana had seen. The structure glowed with internal light, shifting through colors that hurt to look at directly. Ancient symbols covered its surface, carved deep into the crystal walls. The automated ship docked at an entrance that opened as they approached. The 5 of them stood at the airlock preparing to enter. Hana felt her heart beating fast. This was it. Everything depended on what happened inside that facility. Stay together, Ambassador Yoon said. Whatever we face it as a team. Commander Minho checked his weapons, though Hana doubted they would help much against precursor technology. Heejin clutched her datapad like it was a shield. Dioon's holographic form flickered nervously. They stepped through the airlock together. The entrance sealed behind them immediately, cutting off their only escape route. The corridor ahead glowed with soft blue light. As they walked forward, the walls seemed to watch them, responding to their presence. A voice spoke suddenly, filling the corridor. It was ancient and mechanical, speaking in a language Hana did not recognize at first. Then the words shifted, changed, cycling through dozens of languages until finally settling on something familiar. Old Korean from thousands of years ago on Earth. The accent was strange, but Hana could understand it. Welcome, inheritors, the voice said. You seek to prove your worth. 3 trials await. Intelligence, morality, will. All 3 must be passed. Failure means death. Success means inheritance. Choose now. Proceed or retreat. We proceed, Hana said, her voice steady despite her fear. The corridor opened into a vast chamber. In the center, a massive holographic puzzle appeared floating in the air. It was made of shapes that twisted and changed, existing in more dimensions than Hana could properly see. Numbers and symbols flowed across its surface. The puzzle seemed alive, adapting and shifting. First trial begins, the voice announced. Solve the equation. You have 1 hour. Dune immediately began analyzing the puzzle. Her systems worked at incredible speed, calculating possibilities. But every time she found a solution, the puzzle changed. It was like fighting something that learned from every attempt. This is impossible, Minho said, watching the shifting patterns. It adapts too quickly. Heejin studied the symbols carefully. Wait, look at how it changes. It is not random. There is a pattern to the adaptation itself. It is responding to our approach. Then we need to change our approach, Yoon said. Hana stared at the puzzle, thinking. What were the precursors testing? Raw intelligence? No, computers could calculate faster than any biological brain. They were testing something else. Adaptability, creativity, the ability to think differently. Stop trying to solve it, Hana said suddenly. The puzzle is a trap. We are thinking like this is a problem with one correct answer. But what if there is no correct answer? What if the real test is recognizing that? Dune stopped her calculations. You mean we should question the premise of the puzzle itself? Yes, the precursors valued creativity, right? They wanted successors who could think beyond normal limits. Maybe the solution is not to solve the puzzle. Maybe it is to reject it. That is a huge risk, Minho said. If you are wrong, we fail. Do you have a better idea? Hana asked. Minho shook his head. No, let us try it. Hana walked up to the puzzle. Instead of trying to manipulate it, she spoke to the facility itself. We reject this test, not because we cannot solve it, but because we understand that some problems do not need solutions. They need to be questioned. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the puzzle dissolved. A door appeared on the far wall, opening slowly. First trial complete, the voice said. There was something in its tone that might have been approval. Proceed to second trial. The next chamber was different, dark and cold. When they entered, holographic projections surrounded them, creating what looked like a real environment. They were standing on a ship, Hana realized. A passenger ship full of people. Second trial begins, the voice announced. Morality. You will face choices. Choose wisely. The scenario played out around them. The ship was damaged, losing life support. There were 2 groups of passengers. One group was mostly children. The other was mostly elderly scientists. There was only enough power to save one group. The team had to choose. This is horrible, Hyejin whispered. How can we choose? We cannot just pick one group to die, Yoon said firmly. There has to be another way. Junho, one of the holographic crew members, appeared to be the ship's captain. He looked at them with desperate eyes. You must choose now. We have minutes left. What if we use our ship's power? Minho suggested. The ship that brought us here. We could transfer power to this vessel and save both groups. That would leave us stranded, Dune pointed out. We would have no way to leave the facility. But everyone would live, Hana said. Is not that more important than our convenience? The team made their choice. They told the holographic captain to connect to their ship and drain its power. The scenario shifted. Both groups of passengers were saved. But now the team was trapped. Chance. Over the next 2 days, they assembled their team. Hana would go, obviously. Ambassador Yoon insisted on joining despite her age. They needed someone with diplomatic experience. Commander Minho surprised everyone by volunteering. As of Roth, he was not human, but he argued that the trial was meant to test humanity's ability to work with other species. The fourth member was Haye Jin, a human historian who specialized in cultural anthropology. She had been working on a nearby station and rushed to Axiom when she heard about the tribunal. Hee-jin was young and energetic, with a quick mind and a talent for understanding how different cultures thought. The fifth member was unexpected. Diyun, the AI, uploaded herself into a mobile holographic projector. She argued that she represented humanity's future, the bridge between organic and synthetic life. After some debate, the team agreed. On the morning of departure, the team gathered at the docking bay. A small ship waited for them, automated and programmed to take them to the precursor facility. Hundreds of representatives had gathered to watch them leave. Some looked hopeful. Others looked like they were watching humans walk to their execution. As Hana climbed aboard the ship, she looked back at Axiom Station. Somewhere on Earth, billions of humans were going about their lives, unaware that 5 people were about to determine their entire species' future. The ship's door closed. The engine hummed to life, and they departed into the unknown, carrying the weight of humanity's hopes with them. The morning started like any other morning on Galactica Prime. Hana walked through the long metal corridors of the space station, her shoes making soft clicking sounds against the floor. She carried a small data pad in her hand, checking her schedule for the day. 3 years had passed since she first arrived at this place, and she had grown comfortable with the routine. Galactica Prime was not like Earth. It floated at the edge of explored space, a massive station where dozens of alien species lived and worked together. Hana was the only human there. At first she felt lonely, but now she enjoyed being different. The aliens were curious about her, and she was curious about them. Her job as a xenobiologist meant she studied how different species could live together, share food, and maybe even have medical treatments that worked for everyone. Today was her annual health check. Every person on the station had to do this once a year. It was simple and boring. She would walk to the security checkpoint, put her hand on the scanner, let it analyze her blood, and then leave. The whole thing took maybe 5 minutes. When Hana reached the security checkpoint, she saw Commander Minho standing near the entrance. He was of Roth, one of the reptilian aliens who worked as guards on the station. Minho was tall, much taller than Hana, with deep purple scales that caught the light. His amber eyes watched everything carefully. The Vroth were known across the galaxy as dangerous predators, the kind of species that other aliens feared. But Hana had worked with Minho for years, and she found him professional and polite. "Good morning, Dr. Kim," Minho said, his voice deep and rough. His translator device turned his native language into words Hana could understand. "Good morning, Commander," Hana replied with a smile. "Just here for the yearly scan." Minho nodded and gestured toward the bioscanner. It was a smooth black panel built into the wall, covered with blinking lights. Hana had used it before without any problems. She placed her right hand flat against the surface. The machine hummed softly as it began its work. Tiny needles, too small to feel, took a sample of her blood. The scanner would analyze everything in seconds. Then something went wrong. The machine made a loud, sharp sound. Red lights flashed across every screen in the security bay. Hana pulled her hand back quickly, startled. She looked at Minho, confused. The commander's eyes were wide, and his scales had changed color slightly. He looked afraid. Other Vroth guards in the room stopped what they were doing. They turned to look at Hana. One of them made a low growling sound deep in his throat. It was not an angry growl. It was something else, something Hana had never heard before. "What happened?" Hana asked. "Is the machine broken?" Minho did not answer right away. He walked over to the main console and stared at the screen. His clawed fingers moved across the controls, checking and rechecking the data. The other guards gathered around him. They were all making that same low sound now. Hana realized with shock that they were submitting. The Vroth, the most feared predators in this part of the galaxy, were showing submission. To her, Commander? Hana said again, her voice shaking a little. Minho finally turned to face her. His expression was hard to read, but Hana saw something she had never seen in him before. Fear mixed with respect. Dr. Kim, he said slowly, please wait here. Do not leave this room. I need to contact the station director immediately. Why? What did the scanner find? Minho hesitated. Then he turned the console screen so Hana could see it. The display showed a holographic readout of her blood analysis. At the top, in large red letters, were words that made no sense to her at first. Classification, Alpha species. Below that, another line. Threat level maximum. Hana stared at the words. That must be a mistake, she said. I'm just a scientist. I study plants and bacteria. How can I be a threat? It is not about you personally, Minho said. It is about your species. About humans. Before Hana could ask more questions, the door to the security base sealed shut with a heavy metallic sound. Red emergency lights began to flash. Minho pressed a button on his wrist device, and a transparent barrier appeared around Hana, separating her from the rest of the room. She was trapped. This is for your protection, Minho said quickly, seeing the panic on her face. News of this scan will spread fast. There are species on this station who will want to hurt you when they learn what you are. What I am, Hana shouted. I don't understand any of this. A soft chime sounded in the room and a holographic figure appeared next to Hana. It was Dayun, her AI assistant. Dayun looked like a young Korean woman with short black hair and kind eyes. She had been with Hana since the beginning, helping with research and keeping her company during long nights in the lab. Hana, Dayun said urgently, I have been analyzing the station database. I found information about the classification system. Tell me, Hana said. Dayun's hologram flickered as she processed the data. The bioscanner uses something called the precursor matrix. It was created by an ancient civilization called the Precursors. They are extinct now, but their technology is still used across the galaxy. The matrix measures many things. How dangerous a species is, how well they adapt, how intelligent they are, how likely they are to dominate other species, and, Hana asked, according to the matrix, there are only 12 known alpha species in the entire galaxy. These are species that rank at the very top in all categories. The Vroth are classified as Beta+. They are dangerous, but not alpha level. Dayun paused. Humans just became the 13th alpha species ever recorded. Hana felt dizzy. She sat down on the floor inside her transparent cage. That can't be right. Humans are not special. We're just people. The Matrix does not lie, Minho said from outside the barrier. He had been listening to the conversation. It measures things about your biology, your evolution, your history. Humans evolved as hunters. You chased your prey until it collapsed from exhaustion. You survived ice ages and volcanic eruptions. You built weapons before you built cities. You went to war with each other for thousands of years and somehow survived. All species have wars, Hana protested. Not like humans, Minho said quietly. Most species in the galaxy evolved from prey animals. They learned to cooperate because they were afraid of predators. When they developed intelligence, they used it to avoid conflict. Humans did the opposite. You became the predators. You learned to work together, to hunt better, to fight better. That makes you terrifying. Hana looked down at her hands. They seemed so ordinary, small and soft with short nails. She had never thought of herself as dangerous. She studied life, she did not destroy it. What happens now? She asked. I have sent an emergency message to the Galactic Council, Minho said. They will decide what to do. In the meantime, you must stay in protective custody, not as a prisoner, but for your own safety. Dayun's hologram moved closer to Hana. I will stay with you, she said softly. We will figure this out together. Over the next few hours, Hana was moved to a secure room in the station's residential section. It was comfortable but isolated. Through the window, she could see other parts of the station. She watched as aliens moved through the corridors, going about their daily lives. They did not know yet what had happened. But soon they would. Dayun worked constantly, searching through databases and monitoring communications. The news is spreading, she reported. Several species are demanding answers. The Torvin Collective is calling for an emergency meeting. They want Earth to be placed under quarantine. Quarantine? Hana felt cold. They want to lock down the entire planet? They are afraid, Dayun said simply. That night, Hana could not sleep. She lay on the bed in her secure room, staring at the ceiling. Somewhere far away on Earth, her family was living their normal lives. They had no idea that everything was about to change. Humanity had been exploring space for 30 years, making friends, learning from other species. And now, in one moment, they had become monsters. Hana thought about her childhood in Seoul. She remembered playing in parks, eating street food with her friends, studying late at night for exams. Simple human things, normal things. How could any of that be threatening? But maybe Minho was right. Maybe humans were different. Maybe the things that made them survivors on Earth made them dangerous in the galaxy. The ability to endure pain, the willingness to take risks, the curiosity that pushed them to explore even when it was not safe. The determination to never give up no matter how bad things got. Those were not bad qualities, but to someone who was not human, they might look terrifying. A message alert blinked on Hana's data pad. She picked it up and read the text. It was from Ambassador Yoon, the human representative to the Galactic Council. The message was brief. I am coming to Galactica Prime, hold on. We will fix this. But as Hana looked out at the stars beyond her window, she wondered if this was something that could be fixed. The galaxy now knew the truth about humanity, and truth once revealed could never be hidden again. 3 days passed before Ambassador Yoon arrived at Galactica Prime. During that time, Hana stayed in her secure room, cut off from the rest of the station. Yoon kept her company, showing her news reports from across the galaxy. The reaction to the alpha species classification was worse than Hana had imagined. Some species called for immediate action against Earth. Others demanded that humans be banned from traveling in space. A few voices spoke in favor of patience and understanding, but they were drowned out by fear. The Torvin Collective, a group of prey-species civilizations, was the loudest. They insisted that allowing humans to expand freely would endanger everyone. Hana watched the debates on her screen, feeling helpless. She saw images of Earth from space, beautiful and blue. She saw photos of human cities, human families, human children. The galaxy looked at these images and saw danger. Hana looked at them and saw home. When Ambassador Yoon finally arrived, she came straight to Hana's room. Yoon was in her 50s, with gray hair pulled back in a tight bun. She wore the formal uniform of a Galactic Council diplomat, dark blue with silver trim. Her face was lined with worry and exhaustion. Dr. Kim, Yoon said, sitting down across from Hana. I am sorry this happened to you. I tried to prevent this for years. Prevent what? Hana asked. The scan? The truth coming out, Yoon said quietly. She looked tired, like she had not slept in days. When humans first made contact with the galactic community 30 years ago, we knew we were different. We saw how other species reacted to our history, our biology, our culture. We decided it was safer to seem harmless. Friendly scientists and explorers, nothing more. We avoided military displays. We shared our art and music instead of our weapons. We tried to fit in. You lied to them, Hana said. We withheld information, Yoon corrected. There is a difference. We never claimed to be something we were not. We just did not advertise what we really were. Daeun's hologram appeared next to them. Ambassador, I have been researching the Galactic Council archives. I found classified files about Earth. They go back much further than 30 years. The Council knew about humans long before first contact. Yoon nodded slowly. Yes, they have been watching Earth for a very long time. How long? Hana asked. Over 200,000 years, Daeun said. Since early humans first appeared. The precursors left monitoring systems in your solar system. When humans began to show signs of intelligence, the systems activated. They flagged humanity as a potential alpha species. Hana felt her breath catch. 200,000 years? They have been watching us since the beginning. The precursors were very thorough, Yoon explained. They studied every species that showed potential for space travel. When they identified species with alpha characteristics, they left warning beacons. The modern Galactic Council found these beacons and decided to follow the precursors' advice. Earth was placed under informal quarantine. Other species were told to avoid the solar system. But we developed space travel anyway, Hana said. Yes. 30 years ago, when human ships first appeared beyond your system, the Council had to make a choice. Some wanted to destroy your ships and prevent you from spreading. Others argued for contact and observation. Eventually, they chose observation. But it was a close decision. Hana stood up and walked to the window. She pressed her hand against the cold glass. Outside, she could see other parts of the station. Aliens walked through the corridors, lived their lives, worked their jobs. None of them knew that humans had almost been wiped out before they ever left their home system. "What makes us so dangerous?" she asked. "Really? I want to understand." Daeun pulled up information on a holographic display. I analyzed human evolution compared to other galactic species. The differences are significant. Most intelligent species evolved from prey animals or cooperative pack species. They developed intelligence to avoid danger, to communicate warnings, to work together for survival. Humans evolved from hunters. You developed intelligence to track prey, to plan attacks, to coordinate hunts across long distances. Other species have tools, Hana argued. Other species have intelligence. But humans have persistence, Yoon said. That is what makes you unique. You do not give up. Ever. When prey ran away, your ancestors chased them for hours, for days, until the prey collapsed from exhaustion. When environments changed, you adapted. When disaster struck, you survived. When challenges seemed impossible, you tried anyway. That kind of determination is rare in the galaxy. It makes you excellent survivors. It also makes you terrifying. A chime sounded at the door. Commander Minho entered, accompanied by 2 other Vroth guards. "Ambassador Yoon," he said formally. "The Council has summoned you and Dr. Kim to Axiom Station. A tribunal has been called to decide Earth's fate." "When?" Yoon asked. "In 5 days. A ship is waiting to take you there." Yoon stood up, straightening her uniform. "Very well. We will be ready." She looked at Hana. "You should prepare yourself. Dr. Kim, this tribunal will determine whether humanity is allowed to remain part of the galactic community." Over the next few days, Hana learned more about the galaxy than she had in 3 years of living on Galactica Prime. Daeun accessed restricted archives and shared everything she found. The history was disturbing. The precursors had ruled the galaxy millions of years ago. They were incredibly advanced, capable of building technology that seemed like magic, but they had also been arrogant. They believed their power made them invincible. That arrogance led to their downfall. They fought a war with an unknown enemy from beyond the galaxy and lost. Their entire civilization was destroyed. Before they fell, the precursors created the classification system. They wanted to identify species that might be capable of succeeding where they had failed. Alpha species were not threats to be destroyed. They were potential heirs to the precursor legacy. But the modern Galactic Council did not see it that way. They had misunderstood the purpose of the classification system. They thought it was a warning about dangerous species, not an invitation to find successors. "This changes everything," Hana said when Daeun showed her the evidence. "If the Council knew the truth, they might react differently. Or they might react worse," Yoon warned. "Imagine telling them that humans are meant to inherit precursor technology. That would make us an even bigger threat. Some species have been searching for precursor secrets for centuries. They will not be happy to learn that humans have a genetic claim to that knowledge." On the 4th day, something happened that changed everything. Hana was in her room reviewing documents for the tribunal when alarms began to blare. Red lights flashed throughout the station. Daeun immediately checked the security systems. "Someone is trying to break into your room," Daeun said urgently. "Security is responding, but the intruder is moving fast." Hana backed away from the door. She looked around for something to defend herself with, but the room had nothing useful. She grabbed a chair, holding it like a weapon. It felt ridiculous, but it was better than nothing. The door exploded inward. A Torvan stood in the opening holding some kind of weapon. Torvans were small, furry creatures with large eyes and quick movements. This one looked angry and desperate. "You should not exist," the Torvan said, pointing the weapon at Hana. "Your kind is a disease. I will cure it." Hana did not think. She threw the chair. The Torvan dodged easily, but the distraction gave Hana a moment to move. She grabbed a datapad from the desk and threw it too. Then she rushed forward, using her body weight to knock the Torvan off balance. They crashed to the floor together. The weapon skittered across the room. Hana had never fought anyone in her life, but instinct took over. She pinned the Torvan down, using techniques she had seen in movies and self-defense videos. The Torvan struggled, but Hana was bigger and stronger. Commander Minho burst through the door seconds later, followed by his guards. They pulled Hana off the attacker and restrained the Torvan. Minho stared at Hana with an expression that was hard to read. Respect, maybe? Or fear, Dr. Kim, he said slowly. Are you injured? Hana looked down at herself. Her hands were shaking and her clothes were torn, but she was not hurt. I am fine, she said, her voice unsteady. The entire incident was recorded by security cameras, Dayun said quietly. The footage has already been transmitted to the galactic news networks. Everyone will see it. Hana realized what that meant. She had just demonstrated exactly what the galaxy feared about humans. Quick reflexes, aggressive defense, the willingness to fight back without hesitation. She had proven that she was a predator. This will make the tribunal harder, Yoon said when she arrived. She had watched the footage. But it might also work in our favor. You defended yourself. You did not kill the attacker. You showed restraint. That matters. That night, as Hana prepared for the journey to Axiom Station, she thought about what had happened. She had always believed that humans were basically good, kind, peaceful. But today, when threatened, she had become something else. She had become exactly what the bioscanner said she was. And maybe that was not entirely bad. Maybe survival required both sides of human nature. The gentle scientist who studied life and the fierce survivor who protected it. The question was whether the galaxy could accept that duality. Or whether they would see only the predator and miss the person beneath.